What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly sports history for December 12th, 2023. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. It is Tuesday. It is time for a little positivity / motivation. We got a big show today. Lots of things going on. Everything is somewhat related, but I felt our quote today is very appropriate, not only considering what's going on with the Eagles, but just life right now in general. Everybody's going through some shit, but the quote for today is, adversity introduces a man to himself, and that is credited to Albert Einstein. And what I feel that is, it's a very sophisticated way of saying the other quote that is credited to Mike Tyson: everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. And I think what Albert Einstein is saying here is the true measure of a person is how you respond to adversity. That is who you are. Anybody can be anything when things are going smoothly, things are going well. But when the shit hits the fan and the chips are down, how you react and respond to that tells a lot about who you are as a person. Obviously, this ties in very good with the Eagles, and I'll get to that in a minute. But in real life, if you think about it, how many times do you see people that bad things happen and are just like, oh, here we go. That's just par for the course. And then next thing you know, their life spirals out of control. Whether it be somebody getting sick, somebody passing away, losing their job, some type of adversity. And people just say, oh, I'm not dealing with it. The people that we see and we admire are the ones that go through that adversity and come out better on the other side. And I think that's what Albert Einstein is saying. I think you're introduced to yourself. You're face to face with who you are, and you need to make that decision. We talked last week about the whole choosing how to respond to things, and people playing the victim, having that victim mentality, and how life sometimes is like a game of poker. You deal with you play the cards you're dealt, but sometimes you win within 2-3 offsuit. And that's adversity. So how you play that hand, how you respond to that is what Albert Einstein is saying. So adversity introduces a man to himself. That is our motivational quote for today. And again, there's so many real life ways you can use that quote. Everybody, like I said, is going through some shit, whether it's through work, family, health, whatever. Myself, I'm going through some things right now too. Don't necessarily want to get into, but like, it's how you respond and how you handle that really determines and tells who you are as a person. There's also a sports metaphor in there as well, and obviously it's the Eagles. So we're going to go a little out of order than what we normally would on a podcast today, but I think the whole Eagles thing ties in with this quote, and when I saw this quote, I'm like, boom, this is perfect, and I bumped what we were originally going to talk about today. And I think we just got our butts kicked. The Eagles got punched in the mouth twice now, and so they're now introduced to themselves. So what are they going to do as a team? What is the identity of this team? This is adversity that they have not had to deal with since Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts have been coach and quarterback. To be 100% real, like that first year, the whole flower speech and everything, that I think that was them just feeling things out, and that was some adversity, but that was nothing compared to this right here. You just got your butt whooped back-to-back games by the two teams now that are ahead of you in the standings. So how are you going to respond? You're looking face-to-face in the mirror now. How are you going to respond? And I think we're going to see next week what this team is. I don't know what that is yet. And I've been torn. I had a lot of time to kind of think and look through this. And I'm torn. Like, I'm thinking logically and emotionally about this. And there's two different things about that. And I'll get into in a second. But, like, the emotional piece of that hurts. I want... He has those makeups. And obviously, yes, it's been 2 bad games. But I kind of want to see some of the emotion out of him that Patrick Mahomes had after that offsides call the other night. I mean, every time they showed Jalen Hurts on the sideline the other night after a fumble or whatever, he's just staring. Like, and I know it's not necessarily who he is, but like, I need him like supporting the defense. I need him like saying, "Come on, let's go, pick me up," and because and maybe he does, and the cameras don't show it. I don't know. but like you always see him like at the beginning of the game giving his like speech, and in the locker room giving his speech, and kind of a fiery kind of leader guy. I need that on the sideline. I feel like I need him saying, like, there's something that maybe I'm over analyzing this, but something about that just kind of didn't sit well with me. And I mean, I want to see more energy, or else he's just basically Donovan McNabb without as much talent. Like McNabb wasn't that kind of guy, and I think there's times where we wanted him to be that. So again, maybe I'm way overthinking that. But back to the logic versus emotion, and we're gonna close the book on Dallas and move on to the Seahawks. But I think if we think about this from a logical standpoint, and the two parts of your brain are always fighting each other anyway, the logic versus the emotion. But logically, they just went through that gauntlet schedule. If you go back and start from the Miami game till last night, 7 games against Dallas, Washington, 2 games against Dallas. You had a game against Washington, who's a division opponent, Miami, Buffalo, Kansas City, and the 49ers. And they went 5-2, and they split with Dallas. I mean, from a take emotion out of it and a 10,000-foot view of this, they're in a good spot right now. They're in a good spot, logically. And even in the Dallas game, the turnovers that they had came at costly times. Like the first 2. The last one, not so much. But the Jalen Hurts fumble and the A.J. Brown fumble, the Eagles were driving. And they score touchdowns there. All of a sudden, it's a different game. So, again, thinking about this logically, turnovers still happen. They're there, so I don't want to just pretend like they didn't exist. But if we're thinking about this logically, Sunday night, the defense played well in the second half. I mean, they gave up 24 points in the first half, but the offense didn't do them any favors. So, I mean, there's some things to take away from it. And again, thinking logically, the schedule sets up well for the Eagles. You got 2 games against the Giants, although the Giants didn't look too shabby last night against the Packers. Tommy DeVito. So you never know. Cardinals could be tough. This game against Seattle could be tough, but it's logically the Eagles are in an okay situation. They're not, I mean, they could have been in a better situation, but all things considered, now that they're kind of out of that gauntlet, they're not in a bad situation. Emotionally, though, I mean, honestly, this is our birthright as Philly fans. They look bad. Like, I think if they had shown any fight or just anything, maybe we'd feel better about it. And I think there's so many comparisons you can make to Rocky 3. In Philly, where everybody loves Rocky. Rocky 3, what did Mick say? You haven't fought anybody. You're fighting a bunch of tomato cans, blah, 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 blah. And then he steps up, fights Clubber and Lang. That first fight against Clubber and Lang, Rocky got his ass kicked. I feel like that's where the Eagles are right now. That's the adversity they have. They are right there. They're questioning themselves. They're starting to be, again, that adversity is there. And you remember Rocky 3, he didn't want to fight. I'm scared, okay? Okay, so we need Apollo now to come in and save the day. I don't know who Apollo is for this team, but we need Apollo to come in because we know what happens at the end of that. You ain't so bad. You ain't so tough. That's what we need. So I think the good analogy for this team right now is Rocky 3. And how are they going to go? We know Rocky, like after that Clubber Lang loss, there were a couple more movies in that franchise. Are there going to be a couple more movies in this Eagles season? In this Eagles franchise for the 2023 season? I don't know. That's why I need to see how they respond on Monday night. They can say it all they want because they said it after the Niners game. I need to see it. And as Albert Einstein said, adversity introduces a man to himself. The Eagles have now been introduced to themselves. Now tell me who you are. Show us who you are. You want to be a Super Bowl contender? Show it. Run this table. Get it right. Go into the playoffs. And let's see what we got. Just like Rocky came back and beat Clubber Lang in Rocky 3, this is what we need to see from this team. Will we see it? I don't know. I mean, it needs to come together, but whether or not, again, it's nothing we can do. If they come out and play flat and uninspired ball on Monday night, then we know who this team is, okay? And then we can move on and start Looking forward to the one and done playoff run that we're likely going to have. But if they come out and show us some fight, then I can start believing again. A couple last things to kind of go over. Darius Slay. I'll call you Darius. Whatever. If you want to be called Slay, that's fine. Like most of the guys in my Eagles ticket group are all known by their last name. Great. You're showing your stats. You didn't play bad. I don't think you played bad at all. I think the pass interference call was ticky-tack. Probably wasn't pass interference. But I don't need you to tell me how good you're playing. You are a captain. You are a leader of this team. Go out and make your help your other teammates better. Make the other guys, Bradbury, better. You had Blankenship got hurt. Help do something like that. Be a leader. I don't care if you played well. Great. That's what you're paid for. Remember, you got a pretty decent contract in the offseason. That's what you're paid to do. Congratulations for showing me you did your job. What are you doing to make the rest of your team better? What are you doing as a leader, as a captain of that defense to help your teammates out? Tweeting out that I played well. Nobody fucking cares. You lost, okay? So miss me with all of that. Yeah, great. I'm glad you played well. And yeah, those people, the knuckleheads that are out there calling you trash and no play Slay and everything, I'm not siding with them because that's bullshit. Because you did play well. But what have you done to make the rest of your teammates better? What have you done as a leader, as a captain? And to me, a captain and a leader doesn't go out there and say, I played well. I don't know what happened. And you have a history of doing this. You have a history of doing this. You've done it a couple times. You throw your teammates under the bus. I need you to step up as the captain of that defense. I need you to step up as a leader and help make everything better. All right? I need you to look at yourself in the mirror. Introduce yourself now that you're going through some adversity to yourself. Okay? I don't need you tweeting out your numbers. Okay? Because we can all look them up. And yes, you played well. The knuckleheads outside of the NovaCare complex, they don't represent all of us. Okay? I see what you're doing. I appreciate it. Now I need you to be a leader. I need you. You have that C on your chest, right? I need you to be the captain. Usually I'm better on a Tuesday. I'm kind of focused, but this is a crossroads for this team. Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni, it falls on them. Our question of the day yesterday that I was so upset and fired up about, I forgot to even mention on the podcast, but on my social media I put it, is who's the most to blame? Comes down to coaching. And then the offense was second. People were like, okay, the defense kind of got it together there. But Nick and Jalen, I need to see what you're made of. Okay? You haven't dealt with this type of adversity since you've been in Philly. Show me what you got. Okay? Like I said, look at yourself in the mirror. Like Albert Einstein said, you are now introduced to yourself. Who are you? I need you to come out Monday night and show us who you are and be the people that I believe and we all believe as Eagles fans you are. Like we've seen this so many times and this season can go either way, and Monday night is going to tell us which way this season is going to go. They could be fine and it could be the trajectory back to where they should be, or they could just all blow up in our face. So now that you've all been introduced to yourself, Philadelphia Eagles, let's see who you are. Show us who you are. And that leads us into the question of today. Do you think the Eagles can recover from this? Will they be able to come back, or is this it? Let me know. You can either leave a comment wherever you're watching or listening to this. Hit me up on my social media. Or I am pleased to announce, here's how I handled adversity yesterday. I went out and I fixed the problem. I am proud to say and excited to introduce the This Day in Philly Sports History Back to the Future voice and text line. I got to work on that name. I know it's long, it's wonky, but I wanted to get it out here. Let's work through the kinks together. I'd rather, you know what? There's a lot of passion after this game. I wanted to get it out. That's why I wanted it to be introduced yesterday. But here it is. Send a text or leave a voicemail at 267-495-8531. Give me your thoughts on the question of the day, the Eagles, anything you have on the pod. You can make it on. Once I start getting into the flow, I'll play your voicemails. I'll read your text, whatever you can. That's 267-495-8531. It's the This Day in Philly Sports History and Back to the Future voice and text line. I'm going to work on the name. Text me a name if you think. But that is up and running. Hopefully I can get some of your voicemails and texts on tomorrow. That's 267-495-8531. Let me know what you're thinking and answer the question today. Are the Eagles able to recover from this? All right, I told you we went out of order. I'm all fired up now. I'm ready to go. Let's continue our gift and food drive. Again, thank you for all of your support with this for the Maddie N. Dixon Community Cupboard. We had a great turnout for the gift cards. You guys are going to make a couple people and a couple families in this area very happy this Christmas. I mean, I have a ton of food sitting over here to my left. Thank you so much. There's still time. Hit me up. Amazon me some donations. You can send it directly to the Maddie Ann Dixon Community Cupboard. They're taking cash donations. Whatever you need to do, let's continue this and really help make a difference this holiday season. If you're following along with the reverse Advent calendar, today's item of the day is taco items, whether it's taco seasoning, salsa, the taco kits. What we did was I bought a big thing of two things of the family style taco meal kits, and then a big jar of salsa to go with it. No ground turkey or any perishable, but taco items are today's reverse Advent calendar item of the day. Our 25 days of kindness. This is a simple one that I think we all could do and we all need to kind of focus on. And just when you're driving, let somebody merge in front of you. Just let them seriously walk right out in front or come out in front. Let somebody go before you at a stop sign. Very simple and makes a huge, huge difference in someone's life. So that's a very easy thing to do. Speaking of Back to the Future, there will be a new episode this week. In the meantime, check out last week's episode on Eric Lindros, and feel free to go through the archives and check them out. And as I'm seeing how the lighting's changing, quick housekeeping note, I do have a ring light. I just haven't had a chance to really look into it and set it up because I've been so focused on getting the text line and voice line set up. That's 267-495-8531. Be sure to let me know what you're thinking there. All right, Sixers. Huge win last night, 146-101 over the Wizards. It was good to see Joe play. It just was, they just put it together, and I really, really like this team. They're fun to watch. And again, it's Washington, so we don't want to really go crazy and say we're winning the championship, but this is what they should do to a team like Washington. And to me, it's the biggest difference between this year and last year, because last year the Sixers would have struggled with this game. So much so that I didn't want to put the bet on the Sixers yesterday, so I didn't, and I wish I would have. I was going to take them minus the 11.5, but I still have scar tissue from Doc Rivers. So Pat Bev had a great game yesterday. It just... you got to love it. And again, they did what they needed to do against a team they should have done it against. Flyers in action tonight against Nashville. We still want to hear more about, or still want to look into more about, should they be winning? Do they have a shot if they continue to win? And is that going to change what Danny Briere does at the trade deadline? I don't know. I think we still have probably another month. Let's see where they are mid-January and go from there. But what you can do to be ready for mid-January is go to phillygoat.com, get that old school Quakers sweatshirt that was inspired by our podcast. Go get the Mega John hoodie if you want, because AJ, will he bounce back? I don't know. My son is very happy to wear his Mega John hoodie to school today. It's too late to get things there guaranteed by Christmas, but you can get it there after Christmas. Just say, hey, I wanted to make sure I got you the best. Go to Philly Goat, use the promo code Jim Montgomery for 10% off of your order. Thank you for all your support with that this year. Let's keep it going. Hook yourselves up, hook me up, hook them up. Go to phillygoat.com. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery for 10% off your order. I just gave the Rocky 3 speech. Go get a Rocky shirt. They have them. Whatever you need, phillygoat.com. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery for 10% off of your order. All right, finally, 20 minutes in now. Sorry, the Eagles get me fired up. They get me so fired up. But today, we're going to go back to 1976. And on this day, December 12th, 1976, in honor of the Eagles and Seahawks on Monday night and the pivotal game of the season, the Eagles played the Seahawks for the first time ever. The Seahawks came into existence in 1976. This game was the last game of the season, took place at the Vet. The Eagles won 27-10. Tom Sullivan ran 23 times for 121 yards and 2 touchdowns. Mike Hogan added another 104 yards on the ground on 19 carries. Charlie Smith scored the other Eagles touchdown. For the Seahawks, Steve Largent scored the only touchdown. I forgot that he played there from the very beginning. But more the 1976 Eagles that was Dick Vermeil's first year. They went 4-10. It was their 10th straight sub-500 season, 16th straight year not making the playoffs. However, Dick Vermeil came in and it started to turn that team around, and they were on the up and up after the 76 season. And then as a bonus, this isn't the Philly Sports Advent calendar gift today, but that 1976 season was the season that inspired the movie Invincible with Vince Papale. Like, that whole thing was a true story. There were some creative liberties. That touchdown he scored in the movie actually did happen, but it got called back. But 1976 Eagles season was the inspiration for the movie Invincible, the Vince Papale story. But on this day, back in 1976, the Eagles beat the Seahawks 27-10. We're looking for some more of that to happen on Monday night. Have this team look themselves in the mirror and really show who they are and who we think they are, to borrow Denny Green's line. We want them to be who we think they are, or something along those lines. Anyway, Philly Sports Advent Calendar gift of the day. We open up the door, and it is Paul Boo Boo Palmer, running back from the Temple Owls. He is a Potomac, Maryland native, played from 1983 to 1986 for Temple under Bruce Arians. His junior year was his breakout season. He had 1,500 yards and 9 touchdowns, ran for 206 against Penn State. But his senior year is just when he exploded on the scene. He led Division I with 1,866 rushing yards, over 2,600 all-purpose yards, breaking Marcus Allen's record. He had 15 touchdowns. He had rushed for a school record 349 against East Carolina. That number for Temple, by the way, was finally broken by 3 yards, I think it was, 2 or 3 yards by Montel Harris in 2012. The next 3 games, he ran 239, 187, and 212, which set the record. And I didn't look, to be honest. I didn't really want to go down that rabbit hole. But at the time, it was the NCAA record for consecutive running yards, or most running yards in 4 consecutive games. He ended up runner-up to the Heisman against, lost to Vinny Testaverde. No nationally televised games that year, but still was second place in the Heisman. He ended up drafted number 19 overall by the Kansas City Chiefs. He was on the NFL All-Rookie team. His rookie year led the league in kickoff return yards. Basically was just an average player, played a few years, played over in NFL Europe, but he was best known for his time at Temple. He was Eastern College Athletic Conference Rookie of the Year in 1983, Player of the Year in 1985. He was a 2-time ECAC Player of the Year, or all ECAC, I should say. He was National All-American in 1986, and basically he's in the Temple Hall of Fame. He is in the College Football Hall of Fame. He is currently the radio analyst on, I think they're on 97.5 Temple, but does Temple Radio Network. So he's the color analyst on the radio for Temple Owls. Mr. Temple, one of the best to ever do it, is your gift today. Paul Boo Boo Palmer, running back for Temple, finished second in the Heisman in 1986 behind Vinny Testaverde. Despite having no nationally televised games, that's how good he was. And also played under Bruce Arians. So again, there's a little bit of a bonus for you as well. On this day, back in 1976, the Eagles beat the Seahawks in their first ever meeting, 27-10, a trend that we're hoping continues on Monday night. Flyers in Nashville tonight, good win from the Sixers. Don't forget to answer the question of the day. Are the Eagles able to bounce back from all of this? Are they going to get it back on track? Leave me a message on my wherever you're watching or listening, on my social media, TikTok and Twitter, at Jimbo_Mont. Instagram at Philly Jimbo. Feel free to use the text and voice line. Maybe you can be on the podcast. 267-495-8531. 267-495-8531. Leave a voicemail or a text message and let me know what you're thinking. Today's Tuesday motivation. Adversity introduces a man to himself. Well, the Eagles certainly have been introduced to themselves. Where do they go from this? We're going to find out on Monday night. I've seen it go both ways, and I don't know. I want to believe that this team will respond and be back to where they can and should be. Whether or not they get there, I don't know. I mean, I'm right there with you. I mean, I think that they're too talented not to, but it all is going to come down to how they respond and how bad they want it. I mean, I'm leaning more toward I think they're going to come back and be able to do it, but you never know. Again, let me know what you think. 267-495-8531 is the voice and text line. Got to go run a couple laps now. I'm all fired up. But this has been This Day in Philly Sports History. I'm Jim Montgomery. Go have yourselves a Tuesday. And until next time, I'll see you when I see you.